What's up everyone? In today's video, I'm going to be showing you the $30,000 AI system that every business needs. Now, most businesses are sitting on a goldmine of knowledge that they can't actually use, like proposals, SOPs, client notes, and the rest. But all of it exists and none of it is queryable. Every new hire starts from zero. Every AI tool gets rebriefed from scratch. And every time someone asks what was decided about 6 months ago, the answer is about a 3-hour search or a guess. Now, the answer is a proper AI powered knowledge base, not some Notion doc with a few SOPs in it, a structured, queryable, grounded system that takes every piece of institutional knowledge a business has ever produced and turns it into something AI can actually work with. Now, I would build this for any business before I built anything else. It is the foundation that every other AI system should sit on, and if it's done properly, it is worth $30,000 or more. So if you're new here, my name is Dominic Schwantes. I'm the founder of Workflows, a B2B AI lead generation agency. I document everything I do in real time, the campaigns, the systems, and the results. And what you'll find in this document is based on what actually works, not just some theory. So I'm going to be completely upfront with all of you. I've not actually deployed this exact system yet at scale across multiple clients, but what does follow is the architecture I would use based on how these tools work and what businesses actually need. Now, the execution video, which is coming tomorrow, where I will be building a version of this from end to end in Claude Code from scratch. Now, this video is just the thesis of that. Now, the problem nobody's talking about. Almost every business that has been running for more than a couple years has the same problem. They have enormous amounts of written content, recorded meetings, client deliverables, proposals, internal documentation, and it's scattered all across Google Drive, Notion, Slack, email, Dropbox, and a whole bunch of other platforms. But none of it is connected, none of it's queryable, and none of it teaches anything. When a new hire joins, someone spends hours walking them through something about how the business works. When a client asks a complex question, someone has to dig through old proposals and notes. And when teams use AI tools to draft anything, they paste context manually every single time, which is slow, expensive, and produces worse results because AI is being fed fragments of the result instead of the full picture. Now, the problem compounds because by the time a business hits 50 people, the institutional knowledge is essentially trapped in the heads of the 5 longest serving employees. And when one of them leaves, the business loses years of context overnight. Now, an AI powered knowledge base is not a tool, it's an infrastructure. A tool is something you can buy, use for a specific task, and stop when the task is done. But infrastructure sits underneath everything else you do and makes all of it cheaper, faster, and better. For an analogy, electricity is infrastructure and the internet is the infrastructure. But a company's knowledge base, properly set up, is infrastructure for every AI system they will ever deploy. And once it exists, every downstream tool improves. The AI writing proposals is grounded in the business's actual past proposals. The AI drafting emails sounds like a business actually sounds, and the AI answering internal questions pulls from real internal documents, not some generic training videos that it's pulled from Google. This is why I would build a knowledge base before I built anything else. Any automation built with this foundation or without this foundation hits a quality ceiling incredibly quickly. With this foundation, every automation gets better over time as the knowledge base grows. So here is the 4-layer architecture to a proper AI knowledge base, and each one matters. So the sources layer is every piece of content the business has ever produced, whether that be documents, Notion pages, call recordings, YouTube videos, blog posts, proposals, SOPs. Everything goes into the scope. The next is the knowledgeable layer, is where the sources get ingested, indexed, and made queryable. This is where a tool like NotebookLM or Obsidian lives. Now, the reasoning layer is where Claude or another frontier model that actually does the thinking is where the knowledge layer holds all the information, and the reasoning layer uses it to answer questions, draft documents, and synthesize patterns. And finally, the output layer is where the value actually reaches the business. So a Slack bot that answers questions, for example, a proposal generator that pulls from past proposals, a new hire onboarding flow, and without an output layer, the knowledge base is just a library nobody visits. Now, every layer matters, and if you skip one of them, the whole system falls over. Now, these are some really cool tools that I've been exploring personally, and I'm going to do probably a dedicated video to each individual tool here. Now, NotebookLM wins when the business needs fast setup, diverse source types, and does not have strict data sovereignty requirements. It can take PDFs, Google Docs, YouTube videos, web pages, and slides natively. It grounds every single response in citations, and it's free with a Google account. It takes about 30 seconds or 30 minutes to produce a production grade notebook. But the limitation, unfortunately, is that it's only cloud only, Google hosted, and capped at a certain number of sources per notebook. For healthcare, finance, and legal, or anywhere with a strict data handling requirements, this can be a deal breaker, unfortunately. But Obsidian wins when the business needs local first storage, owns its own data, or wants to build something that grows over years. Now, this could be something with a lot of procurement, like medical businesses, for example, where they have a lot of legal frameworks, as well as B2B SaaS companies as well. Local Markdown knowledge base within the plugin ecosystem that adds AI through smart connections, Copilot for Obsidian, or local ChatGPT for fully offline reasoning. Now, if you download something like Olama, this is where you can host any sort of AI model that can be downloaded locally. The files sit on the business's own machines, which means there's no breach of privacy concerns. The limitation, obviously, is that there is more setup work involved, there's no native PDF or YouTube ingestion, and a plug independent AI experience. Now, the default for most small to medium sized businesses is NotebookLM. The default for privacy sensitive businesses or those with in house engineering is Obsidian, like we just said. Now, the best setups use both of those combined: NotebookLM for active project work and Obsidian for long term institutional memory. Now, you might be wondering why this is worth $30,000. The dollar figure is part of most people will push back on, obviously, but here is the maths. The labor saved in a business of 10 to 50 people, someone spends 5 to 15 hours a week answering the same questions, digging for old documents, and re explaining context to AI tools or onboarding. Conservatively, 10 hours a week at a $50 an hour salary is $25,000 a year. The knowledge base cuts this by at least half. Call it $12,000 a year in recovered labor. The next is AI cost savings. Every time a team member pastes context into Claude prompt, they pay for those input tokens. A grounded knowledge base means AI runs, or the AI call runs against a smaller, more focused context window at a very serious scale, and this is thousands a year. The quality improvement across all AI generated output, which means proposals win more deals. The emails land better, and the internal answers are more accurate. The compounding effect is enormous. And lastly, the onboarding acceleration. Particularly if a new employee can ask their knowledge base questions from day one, they reach productivity weeks earlier. 4 extra weeks from a single new hire pays for the entire build on its own. Now, comfortability over $30,000 in 1 year, and then, it's comfortably over $30,000 a year for year one, and then it compounds every year after that without that fee. Now, let's have a look at the deployment sequence. Step one is actually the audit. Spend a couple of hours with the client mapping every single source of knowledge in the business. Where are all those documents? Where is each source of data you can pull from, whether it's online, in person, what's duplicated, what is actually important versus what's just noise that you can tune out. Step number 2 is the notebook. Start with NotebookLM because it's great for pulling all your resources together. Particularly, everyone should have a Google account containing 20 to 30 most important documents, core proposals, flagship SOPs, founder interviews, the most recent client case studies, and make it deliberately small. Validate that the business can actually use it before you scale it up. Step 3 is actually finding the first query layer. Build a small interface, direct NotebookLM access, or a Slack bot that wraps it. Get people using it daily for a week before adding anything else. Actually validate the system first. Step 4 is expansion. Ingest the next layer, call recordings, email archives, blog posts, YouTube videos, and some light automation with Claude Code to convert the sources into clean inputs. Step number 5 is the reasoning and the output layer, which is like the proposal generator, the client response drafting tool, the onboarding assistant, and the outputs that actually make the knowledge base worth 30,000. Step 6 is the ongoing curation. Most agencies actually forget this, but without curation, the value decays. But with it, it compounds. And step 6 is the deployable aspect in 2 to 4 weeks of focused work. Now, why most businesses don't have this? First, the tools are new, particularly Obsidian, and most people aren't aware of them. Obsidian only, NotebookLM actually launched in 23, and Obsidian's AI plugin ecosystem only matured recently as well. Claude's reasoning quality only became reliable enough for grounded production use in the last 18 months. The primitives to build this properly have only existed for a short time. The second is the pattern isn't obvious. Most businesses think about AI as a productivity tool that they add on top of what they already do. Thinking about AI as requiring a foundational knowledge layer underneath everything else is a different mental model, and most businesses have not made this shift yet. Third is that most agencies selling AI services don't do this either, to be honest. They sell point automations because point automations are easier to scope and deliver. The knowledge base is foundational work that makes every single automation better, and the value is indirect and harder to sell. Now, most agencies take the easy sale and skip the foundation, and that is the gap. For any business serious about using AI at scale, the knowledge base should come first. For any agency serious about long term client relationships, offering this as the first engagement is how you justify every future engagement on top. Now, let's have a look about the knowledge base audit. Before you build anything, run the business through this audit. List every place the business currently stores written knowledge, whether that be Google Drive, Notion, Slack, Dropbox, SharePoint, wherever it is. Identify the 10 most referenced documents in the business today. These are the first sources to ingest. Identify the 5 most expensive recurring questions. questions that take real time to answer properly. These are what the knowledge base needs to solve first. Identify the data sensitivity level, like legal, medical, financial, or confidential restraints. This answers the NotebookLM versus Obsidian for you. Identify the primary users, who is actually going to be using this on the day-to-day basis. If the answer is nobody, the knowledge base is a vanity project and will fail. If the business owner can answer all 5 clearly, they are ready for a build. If not, the audit is the first deliverable you do, and do not move past this until that is done. Let's have a look at the source priority list. When ingesting sources, the order matters. Get the foundations right before adding noise. Priority number 1 is getting those foundational documents: company overview, founder interviews, core SOPs, the 2 or 3 documents that explain what the business actually does and why. Priority number 2 is highest value artifacts: winning proposals, flagship case studies, documents new employees need in their first week, and anything reused or referenced regularly. Priority number 3 is operational content: process documentation, client onboarding materials, product specifications, and internal tool guides. The bulk of the knowledge base, and also the slowest to ingest because it's the most scattered. This is the bulk of the knowledge base and is also the slowest to ingest because it's the most scattered. Priority number 4 is the recorded content, like the call scripts, the video recordings, the podcast episodes, and the internal training sessions. This is knowledge that exists but has never been written down. And lastly, priority number 5 is the historical archive, like old emails, legacy project docs, content from previous versions of the business. Now, this is optional, and you should only ingest if the business genuinely needs to query it. Otherwise, it just adds noise without value. So this is the 4-layer go live checklist. So before any knowledge base goes live, you should be able to check off every layer. First is the sources layer. Have all priority 1 and priority 2 sources been ingested? The knowledge layer. Is the tool configured correctly? Are the citations working? Is the data sensitivity level appropriate for the hosting model? The third is the reasoning layer. Have standard prompts been tested against real business questions? And does the output feel like it came from the business? And the fourth is the output layer. Is there at least one live interface that the team members are using daily, whether it's a Slack bot, web app, or a direct access tool? If all 4 layers are working, the knowledge base is live. And if any layer is missing, it's not a knowledge base, it's a document dump. So with that being said, if you run a business and you want to know where to start with AI, start here. A knowledge base isn't glamorous, and it's not going to give you an immediate flashy demo, but it is the single highest leverage thing you can build, and every AI tool you deploy afterwards will be better because of it. If you run an agency, this is the engagement to lead with. Sell it first, deliver it properly, and every downstream project will get easier. Stop treating AI as a bolt-on, but build the foundation and then build on top of it. So if you're a business owner and you need more clients, that's what we do. We run done for you cold email. Our campaigns are hitting 22% positive reply rates right now. If you want us to do the same for your business, the link to apply is in the description below. And make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new daily videos. And I look forward to seeing you for the build in tomorrow's video.